Frankly, you're just dead weight to this company. Incompetent old lady, you're fired. Ever since the president's niece, who came from the head office, became the head of our department, the workplace atmosphere has turned sour. She fell head over heels for a male colleague and persistently clung to him, neglecting her work. Because of this, we subordinates have been swamped with overtime, with even our lunch breaks getting cut short. Moreover, even consulting with the president brought no solutions. Then one day, the department head handed me my dismissal. At first, I couldn't accept it, but continuing to pour my efforts into this company seemed senseless. I appreciate everything. With those words, I left the office. In my heart, I thought, "You'll regret this too late," muttering to myself. My name is Chloe, 51 years old. I work as an office worker at a subsidiary of a certain corporation. While both men and women are increasingly remaining single for life, I am single too. I've always been a workaholic, preferring work over marriage. In my 30s, I sometimes panicked. I might end up alone forever if I don't get married soon. But around the time I turned 40, I became less fixated on it. Even now, I think I'd consider marriage if the right opportunity came along. My relationships at work were excellent, especially the younger colleagues who looked up to me, often inviting me out for meals or drinks and coming to me for advice. My days were fulfilling. However, everything changed when our department head was replaced. The new head, Aurora, a 39-year-old single like me, transferred from the head office, the president's niece. She fell for Benjamin, a male colleague in the same department. Benjamin is 45 now. He's a clean-cut guy, popular among the younger female staff. He's a man of few words, but highly competent. From her first day, Aurora stuck to Benjamin and unfortunately started slacking off at work. That day, even though it was only 10 a.m., Aurora said to Benjamin, "Mr. Benjamin, it's about time for a lunch break, right? Why don't you join me for lunch? There's a chic restaurant about 20 minutes away by taxi." "Manager, it's too early for lunch, and we can't go to a place that takes 20 minutes by taxi. Our lunch break is only supposed to be an hour." "Don't worry, I'm the manager, after all. If I'm with you, you're allowed to take as long a break as you want." At Aurora's words, not only Benjamin but everyone in the office frowned. Actually, I had been consulted by Benjamin several times about Aurora. Aurora, it seems, kept taking Benjamin to the conference room during work hours for idle chatter, and Benjamin was troubled because he couldn't get his work done. Feeling I had no choice, I went to Aurora's desk and said, "Manager, there's still time before lunch. Benjamin has work that needs to be done right now. If you take a 2 or 3 hour lunch break, the rest of us employees will have to pick up the slack." "What? Is that a problem?" Aurora glared at me sharply. "It's a big problem, especially since our rival's performance has been improving lately, and the president has told us to work harder than ever. My uncle has entrusted me with the full responsibility for this department. I don't need you telling me what to do." I couldn't believe these words were coming from someone about to turn 40. The excessive overtime and inability to take a proper lunch break for us other employees were due to Aurora disrupting Benjamin's work. Moreover, Aurora would swiftly leave work as soon as it was time to clock out. Even if our beloved Benjamin was working overtime, she preferred to leave right on time. After Aurora repeatedly ignored my warnings, I decided to talk to the president directly. "President, the manager is interfering with Mr. Benjamin's work. Please, could you do something about it?" "Well, I've heard about it from Benjamin and other employees, but I've left the department entirely to Aurora. It's not for me to intervene." "But the work progress is getting worse." The president sighed in annoyance. "Really? We need to work hard not to fall further behind our rivals. I have a lot of other things to do. Don't add to my workload." "But..." "Don't make me repeat myself. Get back to work, that's all." I was dumbfounded. I never thought the president would be this kind of person. Though I had heard rumors of mistrust from some employees, so it was true. Perhaps the president found it bothersome to meddle in subordinate relationships and was somewhat favoring his niece Aurora. That's why I, the most senior in the department, along with the section and division heads, had to keep warning Aurora whenever she caused trouble. Moreover, the frequency of Benjamin's consultations about Aurora increased, and he and I spent more time together. It didn't take long for Aurora to start disliking me. That day, after managing to escape Aurora's persistent lunch invitations as usual, Benjamin and I had lunch outside. Returning to the office after the meal, Aurora muttered to me, "Acting flirty at your age? Huh? Ridiculous!" I was taken aback. I never expected to evoke such jealousy from a woman over a decade younger at my age. After hearing what Aurora had muttered, Benjamin later apologized to me. "I'm sorry for causing trouble for you, Chloe." Benjamin bowed deeply, but he wasn't at fault. "Don't worry about it. I'll do my best so that you and the other younger employees can work comfortably. Feel free to talk to me about anything, okay?" However, since then, Benjamin has reduced how often he spoke to me in front of Aurora, trying not to cause me trouble. So I started initiating conversations with Benjamin. I couldn't ignore a junior colleague in trouble, as I've always done, and Aurora's jealousy towards me grew stronger by the day. One day, as usual, because of Aurora, Benjamin and I ended up working overtime. "Another day of overtime," I muttered to myself. Aurora, sneering, said to me, "Chloe, working overtime again. Overtime is for the incompetent who can't get their work done right. Benjamin doesn't need to stick around and help an old lady like you." Aurora didn't know I was helping with the work Benjamin couldn't finish. Incredibly, despite being a manager, she had no idea how much or what kind of work her subordinates were doing. Then Benjamin, with a raised corner of his eye, looked at Aurora and said, "Chloe is helping me with overtime because you're interfering with my work. Chloe is neither incompetent nor an old lady." Benjamin himself had repeatedly asked Aurora, "Please don't interfere with my work." But seeing Benjamin openly angry and counter-arguing like this was a first for me. Aurora, taken aback, stepped back and looked like she was about to cry. Then glaring at me, she left the office without a word. The next morning when I arrived at work, Aurora was unusually already there. Since Aurora always arrived several minutes late, I was surprised. Seeing me, Aurora said, "Chloe, could you come here, please?" I went to her desk, and the next moment, Aurora said something outrageous to me. "You're fired." What? Shocked by Aurora's sudden announcement, I stood there doubting my own ears. "Please pack up your desk. You'll be paid 30 days severance pay, so you don't need to come in tomorrow." Wait a minute. What's the reason for my dismissal? I can't accept this. Of course I said this to Aurora. "You have too much overtime. Our company can't afford to pay overtime to someone as incompetent as you." "Excuse me? But that's because you've been interfering with Benjamin's work." "It's not just about the overtime. Being just a regular employee at your age? Frankly, you're just dead weight to this company. An incompetent old lady like you is fired." At that moment, I remembered how Benjamin had defended me and gotten angry at Aurora the day before. Probably Aurora felt even stronger resentment towards me and decided to expel me from the company. The junior employees, including Benjamin, who was present, protested vehemently against my dismissal. But Aurora, even to Benjamin's words, just said, "Quiet," and wouldn't listen. Initially, I couldn't accept the dismissal, but then I thought about it again. Why work under such a person, feeling miserable every day? Is there any point in contributing my valuable time and effort to a company led by someone who let such a person run rampant? Finally, I answered Aurora. "Understood. I appreciate everything." And then I packed my personal items from my desk. As I was leaving the office at the end of the day, Aurora, laughing in a high-pitched voice, said, "How refreshing to be rid of an incompetent subordinate." I didn't retort and just left the company silently. In my heart, I thought, "You'll regret this too late," muttering to myself. The next day when I was at home, I surprisingly received a call from Aurora. I thought I had handed over my work to the section heads, division heads, and other employees. Could there have been something I missed? Though I didn't want to talk to Aurora, I reluctantly answered the phone. Hello? Hello, Chloe. You left your coffee cup in the break room, you know? Aurora reminded me, and I realized I had forgotten to check for any left-behind items in the break room, preoccupied with handing over my work. I'm sorry. Please feel free to dispose of it. I thought that was the end of the call, but Aurora continued talking. Oh, really? By the way, everyone's been complaining to me about firing you. But even without someone as incompetent as you, our company will do just fine, you know? It seemed the real reason Aurora called me was not about the forgotten item, but rather to vent her irritation from being complained to by the subordinates. At your age, finding another job will be tough, won't it? So sad being single and all. It's your fault for being an incompetent, who only does overtime, right? Anyway, today's a $10 million deal day. Who's handling it? At that moment, I heard Benjamin's voice faintly over the phone. The person in charge resigned yesterday. What? The person handling that deal was Chloe. What? Apparently surprised, a loud noise came through the phone, probably Aurora dropping it. After picking up the phone, Aurora said to me, You're kidding, right? When I told you that you were fired, you didn't say a word about handling such an important deal. No one else mentioned it to me either. Everyone tried to tell you. If Chloe was fired, the crucial deal would fall through. But you didn't listen to anyone's words. That's why this happened. When I left the office thinking to myself, You'll regret this too late. It was precisely about this. I could foresee Aurora running into an unbelievable problem. Wanting to punish Aurora, I deliberately left the company without revealing I was in charge of the $10 million deal. I felt sorry because I knew the failed deal would surely impact the company's performance, inconveniencing my colleagues. However, understanding my feelings after ending Aurora's verbal abuse, everyone ultimately sent me off with their blessings. Moreover, everyone was fed up with the president. After I accepted the dismissal, they unanimously said in a place Aurora couldn't hear, We don't care what happens to this company anymore. Manager, I'm considering resigning from this company. Then I heard Benjamin's voice. Resigning? Why, Benjamin? It's not just me. Everyone here is thinking of resigning. Chloe was involved not only in the $10 million deal, but in other major projects. Our key clients were contracting with us because Chloe was here. Now that Chloe's gone, this company is finished. It might sound odd to say it myself, but I didn't work as a workaholic for so many years for nothing. While my female colleagues from my generation and juniors resigned upon getting married, I just kept working relentlessly. Naturally, I was quite skilled in my job. Since my early 20s, I always prioritized work and spent my days focused on it. Interestingly, about 15 years ago, I was appointed as a manager. However, I felt more fulfillment working as a regular employee than in a managerial position. So I asked the president to demote me back to a regular employee. Chloe was contributing so much to the company, Aurora muttered, and then I heard another employee, not Benjamin, speaking to her. Apparently, they were just on the phone with the client for the deal, and upon learning I was no longer handling it, Please consider our conversation null and void, they said. That's terrible. My uncle emphasized several times that we must succeed in this deal. Tell them. The manager from the head office will personally handle it. I heard the employee, as instructed by Aurora, speaking on the phone to the client. However, the client insisted on nullifying the deal and even hung up. This is serious. I need to speak to them myself and resolve this. Then Aurora frantically started calling the client. Her explanations were so confused, I tensed up, worrying she might anger them further. Aurora had little grasp of what her subordinates were working on. Though it's not surprising this happened, it was still dreadful. A few minutes into Aurora's call, there was a sudden silence, followed by her weak mutter. They hung up on me. I could imagine Aurora standing at her desk, pale-faced. Honestly, I felt a sense of satisfaction. It even brought a smile to my face. Then I said to Aurora on the phone, "Hello, manager, can you hear me?" "What? Hello?" "I'll be hanging up now. Again, thank you for everything." Just as I was about to press to end the call button, Aurora stopped me. "Wait, don't hang up. Chloe, please come back to the company." "What?" "I'll apologize for everything I've said and done to you. Please just come back." Aurora sounded desperate, but of course I had no intention of returning. "I'm sorry, but that's impossible. Excuse me." "Wait, don't hang up. I said I'd apologize." "You were the one who fired me, right? And now that things have gone wrong, you want to act as if nothing happened and expect me to come back. That's too convenient. Goodbye." Then I finally hung up the phone. Aurora called several times after that, but I blocked her number without hesitation. That evening, while preparing dinner, my doorbell rang. Opening the front door, I was surprised to find Aurora and the president standing there. Even though I left everything to Aurora, I never imagined she would dismiss you of all people. I'm truly sorry. Of course your dismissal is canceled. Please come back. I'm so sorry. Both of them bowed deeply to me. Without Chloe, today was truly disastrous. The $10 million deal was canceled, and all the subordinates submitted their resignation letters to me. Please come back. I'm sorry, but please leave. As I said over the phone, I have no intention of returning to your company. I made my stance clear to them. Yes, they were reluctant to leave. Please, we need you. Without you, our company will surely collapse. Please, if you return, the employees who submitted their resignation letters will surely come back. Benjamin will continue to work for us too. I, like Chloe, have no intention of returning to the company. Turning around, I saw Benjamin walking from the living room towards the entrance. What? Why is Benjamin at Chloe's house? All thanks to the manager. Aurora didn't seem to understand Benjamin's words. Stunned, she stood frozen, mouth agape. Benjamin then added, Chloe has always been supportive while I was troubled by the manager's persistent advances. The more the manager followed me, the closer Chloe and I became. What? Closer? Chloe and I are now in a relationship. What? Indeed, Benjamin and I had recently become a couple. Before Aurora and the president arrived, Benjamin and I were in the kitchen cooking stew together. Benjamin lost his wife in an accident about 5 years ago. At that time, he was visibly depressed at work, and I, as his senior colleague, often encouraged him. Gradually, Benjamin started confiding in me about everything, especially about his troubles with Aurora's incessant bothering. Until recently, Benjamin saw me as a reliable senior. However, as Aurora joined our department from the head office and we started having meals and conversations more often, he began to be attracted to me as a woman, which he confessed. After Benjamin's confession, I realized I was also drawn to him. Ironically for Aurora, she ended up playing the role of a matchmaker between me and Benjamin. That's impossible. Aurora collapsed on the spot, seemingly in shock. She looked down, unable to utter a word. Then, to the president standing beside Aurora, I said, That's enough, isn't it? Please leave. No matter what you say, none of us will return to your company. Everyone has already found new jobs. New jobs? Where? We've all decided to join your rival company. What? The day I was fired by Aurora, one of the junior employees told us that they knew the executive vice president of a rival company. This employee had transferred to our department from another one a few years ago, where they had worked with the person who is now the executive vice president of the rival company. The manager of the department where the junior employee used to work is also a relative of the president. It seems like this manager, like Aurora, is known for shirking work. The employees in that department had consulted the president about the manager's laziness, but he, just like in this incident, did nothing about it. Disgusted with the president, several employees resigned, one of whom is now an executive at the rival company. This growing rival company was apparently in need of more staff. When the junior employee discussed our situation with the executive, they invited all of us to join their company. Thanks to that, I quickly found a new job. Please don't make me say it again. Both of you leave. I insisted as I was about to close the door.
Wait, I understand. How about I pay you double your previous salary?
The president offered. What?
We want you back that much. Please return to us.
I was utterly dismayed by the president's words and sighed the deepest sigh of my life. President, it's not about the money. We've decided not to return because you don't care about your employees.
I'll change that, please.
It's too late for that now. And trying to solve this with money? I can't trust you. Please leave. Finally, the president seemed to give up. He was crying and left, pulling a stunned Aurora with him. Soon after, the company collapsed. The parent company was kind enough to transfer the employees to other subordinates, or the head office, but the president, Aurora, and the lazy department manager lost their jobs. The president was even divorced by his wife. His neglect of her and lack of gratitude, coupled with the company's collapse, seemed to be the last straw. The president has not only resigned himself to a lonely old age, but also spends his days tirelessly working to repay the massive debt incurred by the company's collapse. Aurora is doing the same, working from early morning until late at night without rest, helping to pay off the president's debt. Considering it all started because of Aurora, I think it's only fair. They aren't allowed to take a break, even though they've collapsed from overwork several times. The lazy department manager from the other department was fired from every new job for the same reason, and is now living a homeless life, having been disowned by his family and relatives. As for me, I'm working hard at my new company, where the president is very caring towards the employees. I'm in a great work environment, and even managed to secure contracts with several companies I've previously dealt with, including the $10 million deal, which was successfully completed at my new company. The president offered me a promotion, but I preferred to remain as a regular employee. 3 years later, Benjamin and I got married. I never thought I'd marry, but finding such an attractive man like Benjamin changed my mind. I'm very happy now.